Oh, look, everyone, it's the help. He must have gotten lost on his way to the kitchen.
The billionaire's voice dripped with mockery. "If you can play this piano," he said, pointing to the gleaming grand in his marble hall, "I'll marry you right now." The guests laughed, their eyes darting to the man in the faded janitor's uniform. But the janitor's hands, they didn't tremble. They twitched, just slightly, as if remembering something only he could see. The room smelled of polished wood and expensive wine. Laughter swirled around like smoke, curling and twisting in the air, feeding on the discomfort of one man. He stood at the edge of the party, his dark skin contrasting against the ivory tiles, a mop bucket by his side. His clothes were worn, his shoes dull from years of walking hard floors. Yet his eyes, deep, steady, gave away nothing. At the center of the room, beneath a chandelier worth more than most homes, a billionaire leaned lazily against a grand piano. His tailored suit caught the light in smug glints. "If you can play this," he sneered, tapping the glossy lid, "I'll marry you. Right here. Tonight." It wasn't a real proposal. It was bait, a public humiliation. The guests grinned, wine glasses raised, enjoying the spectacle. The janitor didn't speak. He rarely did. His silence was his armor. He simply looked at the piano, then back at the man, his gaze unreadable. Once, long ago, those hands had danced over ivory keys. Before the war. Before the medals that now sat in a dusty box in a one-room apartment. Before nights spent mopping floors while the world forgot his name. He had been a child prodigy, then a soldier. He'd played to calm his unit the night before missions, played to honor those who never made it back. But life had taken the music from him, or so it seemed. The billionaire smirked, glancing at the guests as if to say, "Watch this." "Go on," he said, "unless you're not good enough." The words were soft, but the sting was sharp. No one defended the janitor. No one stopped the game. A few guests even whispered, their eyes darting over his faded uniform. The janitor stepped forward slowly, his shoes making the faintest scuff against the marble. His hand brushed the polished wood. Cool. Smooth. The smell of the lacquer rose up, mixed with the faint tang of champagne in the air. He sat. His back straightened, his breathing slowed. And then, he closed his eyes. The first note fell into the room like a drop of rain into still water. Then another. And another. His fingers, calloused from years of labor, moved with impossible grace. The melody rose, soft, aching, like a memory whispered across a field at sunset. Conversation stopped mid-sentence. Wine glasses lowered. The chandelier's light seemed to warm, as if leaning in to listen. He played not to impress, but to remember. The gentle laugh of his mother when she heard him practice as a boy. The tremble in a friend's hand the night before battle. The faces of comrades gone too soon, reflected in the slow, aching notes. The room blurred for him, only the music was real. The billionaire's smirk faltered. His glass froze halfway to his lips. Around him, the crowd was silent, eyes wide, caught between awe and shame. They weren't watching a janitor now. They were watching a man whose soul was spilling into the keys. When the last note faded, the silence was deafening. The janitor stood, nodding once, no bow, no thanks, and turned toward the door. Behind him, a voice broke the stillness. It wasn't the billionaire's. It was a woman's, trembling, reverent, "That was the most beautiful thing I've ever heard." A few others echoed her sentiment, softly at first, then louder. Some guests even stepped aside, clearing his path, their eyes lowered. The billionaire swallowed, words trapped in his throat. He couldn't laugh now. Not after this. The game had turned, and he had lost, not to an argument, but to a truth too pure to mock. As the janitor reached the door, he paused, his voice quiet but steady. "Respect," he said, "is worth more than money. And it's the one thing you can't buy." Then he was gone. The crowd stood in heavy silence. Some wiped at their eyes. And somewhere deep inside, even the billionaire knew, he would remember this night for the rest of his life. Respect doesn't wear expensive suits. It doesn't need to shout. Sometimes, it speaks in the language of silence and leaves an entire room breathless. How many silent heroes walk past us every day, unseen? Where are you watching from? Share your thoughts below, and if you believe in honoring the quiet strength around us, subscribe for more stories that remind us of the dignity we too often overlook.